Hey guys, welcome back. Just a quick note before we get into the garden tour today. This is the very last video that you can comment on as an entry for the seed giveaway. If you somehow haven't heard of the seed giveaway yet, I will link that below, but the gist of it is that a comment on one of my videos is an entry into a giveaway of some seeds that I have saved myself this year, and I'm giving away to 3 lucky winners. So if you want your name in for that, go ahead and leave a comment below. So these are all my cold weather seedlings. We've got some broccolis and kales and lettuces, a few beets, and as you can see, they are a little leggy. They're a bit more stretched out than I would like, but I think that they're going to end up being okay. These are just now starting to put on their first set of true leaves, and it's about time for me to start coming through and thinning these out to 1 plant per cell. I have this pair of itty bitty scissors that I like to use for that, and I just go barely in there and go ahead and just clip off all the seedlings that I don't want. I don't pull them out because I don't want to disturb the roots of the other seedlings that I'm leaving in the little cells. These little ones that you are thinning out and pulling out, they're actually edible. Like, these are essentially microgreens. You've got, you can have microgreens from your broccoli. You can eat all the little lettuces that you pull out. If you have a bunch of them, you can end up with a whole serving of microgreens just from thinning out your brassicas. The only one that I'm not going to thin out is the beets. I am going to plant them as is, multi-sown. Alright, let's see how long we can be out here this week without the dog bothering us. I've been really impressed with my little cuttings over here. All these strawberry cuttings basically refuse to die. The leaves keep dying off when it gets cold, and then they come right back with new little leaves. And they've basically been sitting in standing water this whole time, which is just not intentional. It's just because I'm too lazy to empty these things out every time it rains. A quick check-in on my volunteer cilantro over here. It's growing very slowly. I think I accidentally step on it quite a bit. So it's doing really well for that. I haven't seen any of the cilantro that I intentionally planted actually sprout up, and at this point I don't remember where I put it, so we'll be waiting to see if it sprouts to figure out where it is. These Romanescos still have not shown any signs of heading up, but it's probably just been too cold for them. Romanesco broccoli, regular broccoli, cauliflower, all these things are actually the flower of the plant, which is usually stimulated when it's just a little bit warmer out. So if it's consistently cold, it makes a lot of sense to me that these wouldn't be putting on heads. I have planted a bunch of my onion starts from Dixondale Farms. I've only planted about 1/3 of them, and I feel like I'm running out of space in the garden. But I'm going to try and fit in as many as I can. As far as Brussels sprouts go, I'm still getting quite a few. They're just all still very loose, like they have been. Around in this front area, I had planted a few peas and fava beans, but they kind of came up and haven't done much since then. They're not dying, but they're also very much not growing. There's another one over here. Over here by the raised beds, you can see I have a brand new one starting to be filled in. I got about halfway through doing this yesterday and ran out of time. So all of this is like logs and then twigs and then some half broken down compost over the top. And then I'm planning on filling in the rest with some store-bought compost because my own compost pile is very much depleted after pulling a lot of this. There is going to be a full video showing the assembly of this and also how I'm filling it. So if you're interested in how to fill a raised bed such that you don't have to spend a lot of money on soil and also you have lasting nutrition for your plants, then you'll want to watch out for that. As far as everything else goes, not a whole lot of change here through the winter. I did want to mention though, my oregano, right? This is an Italian oregano and it's looking green and lovely. And I actually picked some and dried some recently and realized that it like smelled and tasted a little bit more like mint and less like oregano than I was used to getting off the plant. And I wonder if that's because of the time of year that I harvested it, or if something has changed about it, like with the soil. But any of you who have experience with that, please let me know. These chives here, they've completely died back, and now all you can see is the new stuff coming up. But it looks really vigorous, so I'm definitely not worried about this plant. It just wasn't ready for the cold. I just found this in my parsley as I was pulling out dead stuff. I don't know what that is. Is that like a chrysalis or something? Some kind of insect? I've never seen anything like it. It could just be trash that got stuck in here. I'm not sure. The little garlics I put in my berry patch as an experiment seem to be coming up just fine. It'll be really interesting to see how these compare as far as like size to some of the others in the other bed. I needed more space, and I've also heard really good things about garlic and repelling pests. So integrating that into this section over here, oh look, there's another one, might end up doing some good. Another interesting update is I just recently noticed that these are my irises sprouting, coming back. It's been very cold. I think they might be confused because we keep going from hot to cold and back to hot. But I don't see any buds on them yet, so they're not super confused. I just hope that they actually bloom this year, because last year they started trying to, and then it got cold again, and I got like one iris. But if I look down the row, there's a lot of grass, so it's hard for you to pick out on camera. But there's a few more coming up along here. So I've been thinking about what I said to you guys a few weeks ago about feeling like the garden tour was getting a little boring and repetitive. There are definitely some things that don't change every single week, and I feel like going over those every week just isn't super interesting. But I think I've come up with a solution that will keep things interesting while also keeping you guys updated on like the realistic state of things in the garden. And so I'm going to try out this like I guess a segment here at the end of the garden tours. I'll do like all the obvious normal updates, and then at the end I'll do, you know, a like monthly update on something that is changing a little bit more slowly. So this week I want to touch on compost, how the compost is doing, how the worms are doing. This pile was a lot bigger before I pulled a bunch of stuff for that new raised bed, but I just want to take this opportunity while this is all exposed to kind of dig in here and show you guys how the composting is going. I would say a lot of this is old bokashi. You can see this is more freshly added bokashi right here, much less broken down. And then we've got the more broken down stuff here near the bottom. It's very black, very fluffy. And I think this bokashi method is going really well. It's a combination of doing the pre-fermentation and then kind of piling it in with everything else. I've got a bunch of large stuff, like whole dead plants that aren't going to fit in a bokashi bucket super well. And these break down over a longer period of time. So they do a really good job keeping the bokashi covered while still exposed to the soil as it breaks down. Is there a more efficient way to be doing this? A way to get faster compost? I would say yes, absolutely. However, it takes more effort than simply dumping a bunch of stuff over here and kind of covering it up and like sifting through it every so often. Y'all know that I like to set up systems that don't take a lot of effort, and this works fine enough for me, and I don't have to put in very much effort into it at all, because if I did have to put in more effort, it just wouldn't happen. And I think having it done is better than having it done or trying to put in the effort to do it faster, burning out, and then not doing it at all. So the other compost related update is the worm bin. This has been going pretty well. Something that is kind of an issue is I have run into fruit flies in here. I had fruit flies in my house, and so it was, kind of inevitable that they would end up in here. Even with freezing everything that I feed to these guys, the existing fruit flies just found it anyway. I'm trying to find where the worms are hiding out. There's a few. There's a little guy. They are kind of just chilling down here. Been feeding them a few coffee grounds, some banana peels. I tried giving them an apple, actually, which they just don't want to eat. It wasn't like rotten or anything, it was just like a little old and wrinkly, and I didn't want to eat it. And it seems like the worms don't want it either. What do we got down here? Oh, these little buggers are hard to find. I haven't managed to feed them anything that really makes them congregate and show up in a little ball like I've seen. Still trying to figure out what exactly they like. Depending on how vivacious they seem in the spring, I'll take a certain portion of them and put them in an outside worm bin. I'm also thinking about setting up a worm bin in my new raised bed. Maybe just something as simple as one of those wire waste baskets. I've seen people kind of sink them down into the raised bed and then put their scraps in the bin for the worms so that they can go out and fertilize the raised bed. I think that would be also a really cool experiment to do. So we'll do some of that in the spring once it's warmer, once I feel like the worms are going to be okay outside. Oh, and I just glanced over at my weather station and realized I absolutely forgot to tell you guys about all the storms that just came through here. If you're in the US, you know that basically all of us just had rain for a week straight. It was awful. Good for the plants, good for the groundwater, but it's sad when it's so rainy for so long. We got, I think something like 4-ish inches again here, maybe 6 if you count like a week and a half. It's a lot. It's a lot of rain, and thankfully it came spread out enough that I didn't have any flooding issues with the garden again. Not like that one day where we had 4 inches in 12 hours, which was absolutely just mind-blowing. We've actually been in a bit of a drought here, so all of this rain is really helping with that. And I'm looking forward to hopefully having a very wet summer, because last year I definitely had to irrigate a little bit, not as much as the previous year, but I really like it when the sky just waters my garden for me and I don't have to think about it. Anyways, I think that is all I have for you today. So just a reminder, go comment below if you want to enter to win the seeds. I've really enjoyed hearing from you guys who don't normally comment. The community at large is just so lovely. There's so much information. I love hearing from you guys. So even after this, please chat with me. I really love it. I love hearing you guys' experiences and your thoughts. It just makes me feel less like I'm just talking into the void over here. So yeah, go ahead and comment to enter to win the seeds, and please continue commenting. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next week. Until then, happy gardening.